Yeah, we're gonna kick around a little bit until Anime wakes up from his nap, or from a prolonged wank, warm himself out.
Poor boy.
Yeah, I know.
They do have a shelf life. That poor boy.
Well, if you really put your arm into, you can. Anyway.
All right, let's stop this. We say it all with love.
I did send you a list of Star Trek topics. I want to go off on that for a while.
I have not had a chance to go through that. I had a lot going on the last few days.
Well, let's see.
If you want to pull the list up, we can go through it some.
Well, let's see. We got what might have been for Star Trek Enterprise Season 5.
Wow. My boobs are huge. Anyway,
let's see.
Tiki is not wrong. Anyway,
no, rarely it's wrong. It's a little blunt.
Well, recently the apology tick has moved worse because Steve was triggering the "I'm not sorry. I'm never sorry." Yep, that's it. The second part.
Okay, moving on. Again, I think all these are Krista Esparza here, so it's like, okay, well, here we go. Coming on 25 years later, events still what it might have been. Okay, well, the idea is apparently a service of what might have happened here, or shit can't what They were talking about actually adding Jeffrey Combs as a regular. Apparently, Shran would have been on the Enterprise as another liaison type thing, which I think would have made real fun, just with him dealing with T'Pol. Remember, Vulcans and Andorians don't like each other.
You just went right into the show I hated and wouldn't watch. So here we go. What would have happened in season 5? I would have avoided it like seasons 1 through 4.
Combs just said right after season 4, that should have been season 1. They were doing stuff in season 4. They should have been doing season 1 from the get-go.
All I can tell is there was so much cringe in the first few seasons and so much technology that didn't match the era it was supposed to be set in that it just it was too annoying. And I am a hyper perfectionist.
Talking about upgrades. She's missing the most obvious one, adding the secondary hull. That's what Drexler had in mind. Because when he designed the Enterprise, it was deliberately kind of unfinished. Kind of like, we're not quite there yet, but later on we can throw that on there. And then that's when you set your lineage of what the structures to follow later. Talking about, shields. The secondary hull, come on. It's obvious. We got posted. Got a calendar on the wall. I think it's got a picture of it. Got a couple of models sitting around here. And it finally showed up in the third season of Picard at the Fleet Museum. See? Lighter, more positive tone. Well, I don't know about that, Actually thinking about that, because the thing is, season 5, if they'd done it right away, would have been leading into the Romulan War. So I don't know how much more positive they could have gotten, really.
I was going to say, considering the era that show is supposed to take place in, I don't know how you would have gotten more positive without just fucking canon even more.
They had plenty of goofy episodes as it was. Occasionally.
That's like going, hey, Canon, come here, bend over. Shh, I promise this won't hurt. Now bend over.
Yeah. Me. No, we use a little lube. The reveal that Trip Tucker's death was fake. Okay, this one actually, because they would have been another season, these are the voyages would not have happened. That episode never would have happened because there wouldn't have been a need for it, because they were saying they're wrapping up the whole thing and that's it. It's over with. So they're trying to do a Valentine for the entire franchise and failed miserably. And they've admitted they're embarrassed. Yeah, I'm sorry, we fucked up. But that episode never would have happened, so Trip never would have died, quote unquote. So this is like, no, it never would have happened. It wouldn't have even been a question. And if we do get Star Trek United coming in, again, that's 25 years later. The best thing that they do on that one is, again, show the Enterprise with that secondary hull and have Trip there alive and well and just don't even mention anything connected with what was depicted as happening.
I still never liked Enterprise.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, it can be tweaked. The failures are not that egregious. A lot of it's violating fan assumptions of what that era was like. No, actually, no. It was not Starfleet battles. It was not,
No, none of that crap of the little assumption shit is why I couldn't stand it. So mine was literally things that didn't match with other plot points and storylines from or other shows, and just literally just the technology made no sense to supposedly be before the original series the way it was designed and looked.
Well, again,
the adaptation of how technology develops through cultures. There's a movement scale it does, and it repeats, but there's a movement scale it does. It goes from this design to this design to this design, and you can see it sped up in the design of cars. The way they designed the ship in the show Enterprise would not have been before the way the ship was designed in this original series. And that's the problem. They were trying so hard to appeal to the modern audience, they lost the timeline consistency of technology.
Yeah. Well, again, it wasn't for lack of trying, but also there was more than enough pushback from the production, because Berman just wanted to use the Akira class unchanged as it was on screen, and they had to. Both Herman Zimmerman and don't let us come up with something else, please. They will barbecue us if you use the Akira. They know the Akira too well. Yeah. Well, they will notice. Yes, they will notice.
It's like I'm not going to sit here and say that the ships and the stuff like that weren't well designed. They just didn't feel right in a precursor to that. They would have that design style would have gone better in later series. So that was one thing I had a problem because I'm very historical, and you may think that's nitpicking, but it's not to people like me because we're so into how societies develop psychology and technology advancements and crashes throughout history.
We're fans. We nitpick. It's what we do. Okay.
This isn't even that. I am a history nerd first, and I'm a psychology nerd first, and those things just don't happen that way. Yeah. And so it takes me out of the realism of the moment or the fun of the moment and puts me into overthinking in my head and not able to get into the story. And so it may seem nitpicky to some people, but it makes a difference to me.
No, so it does take some rationalizations and a few tweaks here and there. The thing about, culturally, some things happen weirdly. Because again, I like having visual aids nearby. This bad boy.
It's better than what I like having nearby. Anyway.
Again, it's all known as the Disco Prize nowadays. But originally, this was John Eves' proposal for the NX-01. And the thing is, the way that this finally, there's still a lot of callbacks here to the NX with the way the cells are and stuff. It does not work as the Enterprise originally, the way they're trying to push it off now, especially when they doubled the size of the damn thing. But it does still work very nicely as an intermediary between the NX-01 and start going into these guys here.
Now, here's another side note to the whole shift with the culture and Trekkies and all this. When I was growing up and when I was being raised on all this shit, part of how people looked at us as real fans is, were we the kind of fan who would sit here and nitpick on the different shows and know which things we liked and disliked and all this shit? Did we actually understand different technologies and different storylines and stuff enough to criticize every show, give our criticisms of each show and everything? Or did we blindly follow? And whereas now you're called a fake fan if you criticize any show, I've been called a fake fan 9 times out of 10 by anybody, including supposed old fans. If I say that my favorite isn't DS9 and I actually had this and this issue with the plot, that's not even saying I don't like the show. That's saying I dislike this. They instantly go, "Oh, you're not a real fan." It's like, literally, we were supposed to be that kind of fandom where we understood that we criticize what we love because it helps it get better and because it helps us understand it. Because if you're just blindly obeying and following along with whatever they tell you, that's not fandom, that's standing, and that's not healthy, and you're not understanding it. Because it's not about trying to learn the universe, it's about trying to idolize the people writing it.
They got letters back in the day when it was still on NBC about why the transporter would flash 3 times in this episode, twice in another, and then 4 times in another. It's from the very beginning. Okay, we've been nitpicking this thing. Okay, maybe and I'm sure they got. I'm sure they even got letters when The Enemy Within aired. I say, why is Kirk missing his insignia, but then it magically appears after the commercial break?
Well, maybe that's probably because nerds are nothing if not anal retentive and quite often autistic. And let's be honest here, because all these people going, "Oh, autism is such an issue now where it wasn't before." It's like, how many people do you know who are elderly who are too obsessed with their collector trains or their old memorabilia, or have like rooms dedicated to their fandoms of shows from when they were young? It's like
it just took a while for the label hit.
How many of these people do you know who would eat a certain way or wouldn't eat foods without a knife and fork that were supposed to be eaten by hands and shit like this? Your entire fucking childhood. I literally could sit here and go, I could point out this person, and this person in my family who absolutely were autistic. They just weren't diagnosed. You know?
Yeah, I think there is a production reason for the missing insignia. It's like they filmed those scenes on pickups afterwards. It was like they were already working on another episode, and it was still early on. You're still trying to get into the habit of make sure you reattach it, because they took off the insignias whenever they took the uniforms out and costumes out and got dry cleaned every night. And so somebody forgot to put on the one, and they weren't used to it yet, so they hadn't noticed.
That's what I said about this. It's interesting now that you get so criticized so heavily. Look, the people who are old fans in Star Wars and Star Trek criticize you for criticizing the old stuff. The people who are new fans call you a fake fan if you don't love all of it, or don't treat the old stuff like problematic and hero worship the new stuff. Can we just agree that what makes you a fan is loving something and being willing to look at it, digest it, criticize it, and find what you love in it? And stop this shit about, a real fan wouldn't say that. No, a real fan fucking said it to your face.
Oh, real fans, a whole entire,
Hey, Daniel.
There are streams on it. We'll write books about it, for God's sake.
Hey, Schmoopy.
I think that's all that needs to be said with TJ's comment there. He said, my maternal grandpa was the most autistic autist who ever autisted.
Yeah. Let me go ahead and just turn that on. Okay.
So, yeah, it's like...
Hey,
what?
Fuck off.
What are you interrupting the stream for?
Oh,
because I was going to really good at it.
Go ahead and start the pizza.
Deal with your wife. I've got the stream for a few minutes.
All right, let's start the oven, get the pizza ready.
She's good at nagging. Just
and just bringing up totally irrelevant shit at the wrong damn time. So,
so
it's like,
well, admit it. You're right.
Shut up. Let me ramble then. Anyway, so it's like, yeah, fandom, nerddom. We always were hypercritical. I will sit there and tell you every problem I have with the plot and the story and the special effects in every fucking show and movie I like. I will tell you what parts of it I wish we could literally just decanonize and remove. I will tell you where different shows pissed me off when I was a fan of them. Like Once Upon a Time and their bullshit of portraying Dreamcatchers as satanic black magic. You know, fandom is not just hero worship and fawning at the feet of the master. Fandom is loving something enough to be willing to criticize it when it's bad and bring out the good. I have issues with every single Star Trek movie and things I like about almost all of them. I don't like the relaunch, but I also don't like the way the actors have been treated by some of the old fans, because I've seen some of those group chats. Yikes. Let's just say I actually knew somebody who started a group chat in my old contacts years ago, which literally his whole group chat was literally wishing death on all the people who were involved in the new Star Treks. And it had over 50,000 members doing this shit. So
holy cannoli.
I realize that both the new and old Trek fandoms have some toxic ass psycho shit in them, you know? But I think the only movie I would generally just completely throw away and not even try to rewrite is fucking Nemesis. I could rewrite the JJ Trek shit and just take out Star Trek and just make them into popcorn sci-fi and make them decent. But Nemesis is just a fucking burn that bridge and destroy it. You know? But
yeah, you should let Bob tell you about the time we went to see Nemesis.
And me and Bob disagree on a lot of our rants about different Trek movies and shows. We'll argue against each other all the time, but yeah, we can still get along. Funny how that fucking works, right? Don't get me wrong, there's a part of me that likes arguing with him because it's kind of fun to be a bitch. I mean,
and this is news? Honey, can you come get my trash?
And so, yes, totally, yes. Now, this is not going to be a long stream, by the way. This was us starting the stream and ranting a little bit while we waited for the anime nights to start. Because I felt like ranting a little bit. There's moments, days where I feel like I have to do it.
All right.
And what I was going off with Bob earlier was a balance line that I have had fight with and stuff, which is, and I won't go into why we were having the conversation, but the attitude that we have to basically throw baby out the bathwater, that we should destroy anything artistic if somebody in the cast or somebody in the art group or something turns out to be something really sinister. And the damage it does to the careers and the lives of the other people who worked on those projects.
Best way to watch Star Trek V is there's a Star Trek fan film that does basically...
You just completely cut off what I was saying, Bob.
All right.
Give me 1 sec. But yes, it's literally, let's not just throw people away because somebody on a project turned out to be horrible. And this is where I've seen both sides do this so much. Well, one person from this project or one person on this movie or one person in this chat or one person on this system or this show or in this movie turns out to be something really bad. Let's destroy the whole thing. Let's burn the books. Let's delete the show or the movie from history, all this stuff. That's not positive. It's not good to erase things. And if we were to destroy everything that had a negative person attached to it, do you want to get into how many of these creepy people there were in these classic authors? Do you want to look into people like Lewis Carroll and the shit they did? You want to look in to the op-eds and stuff that Frank L. Baum wrote defending Wounded Knee and defending the idea of massacring natives? I mean, if we're going to erase everything because of a problematic person, then there's nothing left of history art. And there is something to be said for don't throw away art because of the artist. Because otherwise we're going to lose part of history and learn part of our lessons. And I realize that that's not a popular opinion with a lot of people. But I noticed... Go ahead.
The reason off there.
Seventh Heaven, because of Stephen Collins.
Which actually, what people say he said and he did is not what he said and did anyways. I've looked into the case thoroughly, and it's bad. It's nowhere near as bad as they portrayed it. It is a moment of stupidity, half asleep with somebody who was a few years younger, not like a little kid. And both of them instantly stopped, and he put himself in lifetime therapy for it.
Yeah.
This was not something he wanted or kept doing. So even if he was as the stories were reported and not what actually came out, how many other people worked on that show, in those movies and stuff like that? How many people had a positive impact on their life because of that show and because of his part in Star Trek and other stuff?
And all of his cast members on Seventh Heaven, all the girls, he never did anything else.
Not only did he never do anything to them, they all said he was extremely protective of them.
Yeah, very much a father figure on that set.
And this is why, but what it came down to with that case also is, let's take it as what the ex-wife and the therapist claimed, that he did everything they claimed.
Mm-hmm.
The therapist is saying that he'd been telling her this stuff for years, and she didn't report it. She recorded a few words out of context and then blackmailed him with them.
Yeah, it was a divorce proceeding. So yeah, she was going for the nads. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm saying the therapist didn't report him. Supposedly saying that he'd been saying that he was this horrific predator for years. She never reported him. She recorded him without his consent to take a few things out of context in a video clip and blackmail him with it.
So she was
There's serious issues as a therapist with that. If he was what she claimed, she should have been reporting that to the police immediately. It never should have been a blackmail situation. And I'm not saying I support him or the things he did. However, even the person it happened with has said she forgives him and that it wasn't just his fault and that he's done everything in his life to make amends for that few seconds of stupidity before they realized what they were doing. I think there's a difference between a brief moment of inappropriate touching versus full-on assault. And that's not to say either is okay, but let's not make them the same thing.
I mean, he has been a little cagey on the issue, but it's like, can you blame him? Okay. Probably on the advice of lawyers, don't outright admit to anything. Okay.
He pretty openly said everything that happened and what happened in multiple interviews, actually. Yeah,
the way he describes some of the this young woman, she was 9.
She was 14.
Something like that. Either way, it was like, you're not doing yourself any favors there. Yeah.
She was 14, he was 18. It wasn't like this was some guy in his 30s going after a little kid. There is a difference there. And again, that does make some difference in it. And this is not defending what he did. What he did was wrong. But I'm saying there are differences of offense. And whether or not somebody is redeemable or not. Some people also, it's not uncommon to have weird urges like that or to try something like that when you're younger, when you've been abused like that.
Yeah.
And you don't even have to remember having been abused like that to have that impulse occur. Which is also why when it happens that young and there's an obvious revulsion towards it, then further things need to be investigated.
Testosterone's a hell of a drug.
There's signs that this probably was happening in his childhood. Based on how casually it happened, how quickly he was revolted by it, how scared he was, putting himself in therapy and scared he might repeat it, but also the trauma reaction he had to it. There's signs that this happened to him in his youth and he doesn't remember fully, and it's manifesting in negative ways.
So this is not something that's going, oh yeah, I did this, no, she did that. No, you're not just going to be chatty Cathy about it. Let's get another topic up here.
Well, you mentioned him, so I did have to go into that because while I do find what he did repulsive, I don't like the lies that have been put out in that story.
Yeah.
Because that therapist needs to go behind bars too.
Yeah. Let's pull this one up here. Again, from our buddy Krista. 3-book Star Trek books written by Star Trek franchise actors. It's like we got The 35th Rule by Armin Shimon and David George III. Involves a trade dispute between Bajor and Ferenginar, and the end result being Rule 34. The 34th rule of acquisition is war is good for business.
Hey, real.
And they get caught up, and basically they start doing internment camps on Bajor, and Quark and Nog end up in there. It was kind of inspired by George Takei's experience as a kid during World War II. IQ. One thing they missed here was Andy Robinson's Garak novel. They didn't get that, but because they go from IQ with John DeLance and Peter David and Armin Shimmer. And the thing is, Robinson wrote that himself. He didn't use a co-author. He wrote that fucking book himself. It's real fun. When he was out here at Starfest, it's like he's up on stage in the Q&A, and you can see a little bit. When he did a reading of part of the book later in a separate thing, and when he started to it, there's Garrick. He just inhabited the character. But they leap right to I Am Spock. And the write-up here indicates that you haven't read I Am Not Spock, have you, Krista? Come in 1975, Nimoy published a book called I Am Not Spock, where he clearly tried to distance himself from the character of Spock. No! Read the damn book. He goes on and on about, no, I'm very proud of the character of Spock. He is very much a part of me, but I am not Spock.
Was the obsessive fans trying to say that he was the character and not seeing him for any other part that he did, which, while I understand that, I don't think he approached it well in that book, and I think he did come off pretty dismissive in a lot of places of it, but that's not the same as saying that he didn't want to ever be credited to that character.
No.
I do think that book had a very insulting tone towards some of his roles and his fans, but that's why he corrected those thought processes in the follow-up.
Yeah, when he did the follow-up in 20 years later. But he joked at the times that, I'll probably follow up with, next book will be, maybe I am Spock.
Well, Real, I will say this to your comment, Real. I will say it this way. JJ Trek, if you strip Trek off it and turned it into an action-based sci-fi flick that was not named after anything in Star Trek, could be a decent popcorn flick.
Well, it'd still be stupid, but it wouldn't be insulting.
Most popcorn sci-fi flicks are stupid.
Yeah.
And of course, remove all the fucking lens flare and the over-the-top stuff and add a little more actual story and chat to it.
Yeah.
But it has some potential that he wasted that could actually be less cringe if he hadn't done what he did.
There's been a lot of blaming current writing on Buffy and other Joss Whedon things, because our current crop of writers have not lived life. They have not read classic books or done anything. Their writing is based on what they watch, and it was Buffy and Angel and some fun, So everyone wants to be the next Joss Whedon. It's like Joss did have a bit of a life, and that's why. Leave the Joss Whedon writing to Joss Whedon. Okay, he knew generally when to back off on it, but also the production was like Firefly. That's where you start seeing lens flares actually making it on screen. But that was actual accidental. That was not intended. That was
There's a difference between.
It looks real that way. Leave it.
There's a difference between lens flare occurs naturally in certain angles. Otherwise, it doesn't look realistic.
Yeah.
Because you're disregarding what a camera would do in that situation, which you did have a few times in Andromeda.
Yeah.
Versus adding lens flare in places it doesn't make fucking sense because you think it looks neat because you're an idiot who failed photography 101.
Which is what JJ did all through his little thing. I mean, there's behind the scenes stuff, in the extra thing where he's deliberately aiming pen lights at the camera to get lens flare.
Not done.
Yeah.
I'm speaking as a photographer on this. Lens flare does occur to some degree. It occurs in sunset photos and stuff like that naturally. And if you use it correctly in what happens in photography and filming, it can actually be very beautiful. But when you try to create it artificially, it looks really stupid. Just like JJ is really stupid. Do you follow me here?
Oh, yeah.
So he has no creativity. He just sticks in a ton of special effects and lens flare, so your senses are so overloaded that you can't see how stupid it is.
He's a paint-by-number hack, okay? With a little Spielberg thing here, and some Joss Whedon stuff over here, and put it all together. And
I'm going to sit here and defend the comments that you were ranting about, because I fucking hate Buffy and Angel. They were whiny-ass soap operas that had no creativity other than, look, sexy vampire, stab, stab. Ooh, now they're sexy again. Fuck that shit. Anyway.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you wonder why so much writing sucks, because that's what they're basing their entire thing on.
I hate it so much.
And thing is, what do we got now with Strange New Worlds? They did a musical episode because Buffy did a musical episode.
Oh, good Lord.
Oh, look, here's the thing. I'm not opposed.
Once More with Feeling was considered a bit of a landmark thing, but Buffy's also a weird enough show they could get away with it.
One sec. I was in the mid-sentence.
Yeah.
And the thing is that I'm not opposed to a musical episode when and where they're done well and done correctly.
Yeah.
What I'm opposed to is horribly done ones that don't make sense, that aren't in a show where it fits.
K-pop Klingons. Okay,
We'll have to discuss that later, TJ, because this sounds like a hell of a story. Anyway, and there's time and place for musicals, and there's a time and place where you do it right. And I'll go back to my rant complaining about Once Upon a Time earlier. I will give them credit. Their musical episode was actually really well done and actually fit the characters.
Mm-hmm.
You can do a good musical episode if you do it right in the right show in the right context.
Yeah.
It's not an automatic horrible episode, but it is if you don't put the right context in and do it the right way. And if you're going to have Klingons singing, they need to be fucking death metal or some shit. Anyway.
Klingon opera,
Yeah, it's got to be like, I mean, come on. Part of Klingons were part of the inspiration to the whole opera and dark and metal in the same.
Should be like.
Yes, the genre was overall based on the whole Phantom of the Opera thing, but they're referenced a lot in the early symphonic and operatic metal movement.
I mean, Klingon opera, it's kind of like, think of Wagner with a couple of metal bands backing up in the orchestra,
Wagner is a twat.
So as I was saying, the whole symphonic operatic metal movement, Phantom of the Opera is part of the inspiration and creation of the genre. So were the Klingons and their obsession with opera and beauty while being as metal as you can fucking get.
Something Trekkies 2 did. Went to Sacramento and all these theme bands. Sacramento theme bands. They're all based around theme. And one of the things is a lot of Star Trek themed bands. There's like 5 different offshoots of, No Kill Eye with the band. There's No Kill Eye The Next Generation. No Kill Eye Deep Space Nine. But there's one group. It's a Klingon death metal band, Stovokor.
Oh, I know them.
And they're no slouch. They can bring it.
This is the thing. Do you know how much Star Trek, Star Wars, and Lord of the Rings metal there actually is?
You can start with Led Zeppelin, invoking Tolkien every once in a while, and go from there.
Every once in a while, fucking constantly. You mean? I mean, look. Do you know there's an entire genre in metal that's called dwarf metal that's based in Tolkien, which is a offshoot of the Viking metal genres.
Yeah. Oh, Anime sent a link out, by the way.
All right. He's supposed to send it to me too, so I know when he's ready. Oh, okay, he just did.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, you slouch.
Do one last one here. It's a quickie. Krista again ranking all 6 Star Trek original series movies ranked from worst to best. I have comments. Okay.
Let's just hear the list and I'll see if I can agree with any of it.
Yeah, I'd say at the bottom of the list, you got Final Frontier. I mean, this is the first 6 ones.
I could agree with that, actually.
Yeah, it's mainly the comments here, but it looks like they're put together by people that don't know anything about Star Trek. The story's from William Shatner.
Bullshit. Okay. Anyway, but let's go further down.
Number 5, the motion picture. Wrong.
No, that deserves to be way higher up on that list. It's not given the credit it deserves. Just because the costumes were horrible and the pacing of the movie was a little slow does not mean it's not a brilliant movie.
No, God, no. Especially the finished version. Now they finally got it finished.
Yeah.
There better be a screening for it in a couple of years for the 50th anniversary.
Motion picture, I would put middle of the pack because I still like Search for Spock and Wrath of Khan better, but it's not a slouch.
Yeah, that needs to be seen on the big screen.
I would actually say, if you're going to have me rank them, my top 3 would actually be Search for Spock, Wrath of Khan, and that. Only because Wrath of Khan, there's moments I wasn't as into as the follow-up. There's personal reasons for that. I'm not as into it, but it's still brilliant. So it's in the top 2 automatically. Those 2 are kind of almost tied, and then motion picture below it, and then go into the rest.
Yeah, we're going 4 start getting into the liking thing and then to the dislike. So we got Search for Spock, Voyage Home.
Voyage Home, I would think, is 3-4 range is fine.
Yeah.
Undiscovered Country is not fucking number one. What the fuck?
It was a good way to wrap things up. But yeah.
As I said there, I think I'm kind of torn on that. I love the motion picture. I love Wrath of Khan, but I actually think I like Search for Spock more than both of them. Mm-hmm. And I think those three are almost like neck and neck. I would also say Voyage Home is going to be right after that. Undiscovered Country, and then Final Frontier.
Yeah, Search for Spock's one that really had a feel of, no, this is a Star Trek story. This one has the right feel.
It can be your personal favorite, but it's not the best made of the movies.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm looking at also. Personal taste combined with how well made were they to the intricacies of the plot and the stories.
I remember on Weekend Update, Saturday Night Live, Dennis Miller doing a rundown of all the movies coming up there, and everything was a sequel. You know, it's like Friday the 13th, 6, whatever. And Star Trek 5, The Apology. Or Star Trek 6, The Apology.
Oy vey.
Okay, so let's get down to the bottom. Have we done those? And I suppose we should go on to the other one here now, huh? Now that anime has woken up from extended wank, you know.
Okay.
You better go check on the pizza.
You want to share the stream link out for our anime nights?
Okay. Well, not this link, because that's the one to go backstage.
I know. Share the link so everyone knows where we're heading. Because, we got to get over there.
Let me get in there. Yeah.
And you need to check.
So get the link.
It'll just be the oven right now. I won't put the pizza in yet, for Christ. Just give me some sense.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, that was a weird echo.
Stop! You're fucking crazy, by the way, woman.
And why is my?
And you're not.
Not as much as you are, sweetheart.
Oh, bite me.
Ew, food poisoning. All right, I got the link. I'm sharing it to the actual stream.
Oh,
go over here, follow us with the anime nights, and let's get some movement.
Alrighty.
Oh, I might come in after a while.
Okay.
Oh God, she's threatening us! Run away! I mean,
okay, guys, link up there, so we'll be moving over there. So we'll talk at you.
Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Well, the plan is ignored. Action is what's ahead. Life is a great big bang up. Whenever there's a hang up, you'll find a